Hello there my crafty friends, it's Terry from Vig's Taste Creates here for Fairy Stamper today. So today I am going to be making a card using the following stamps. So Ania's Tree, which I haven't used yet, one of the newly released stamps, Nala, Moana, who looks like she's sort of meditating or thinking deeply, and another one of the new release ones that I used in my last video, which I'll put a link to here in case you haven't seen that one, hanging snowflakes. I thought it'd be really nice to hang a few of these smaller snowflakes from the tree. So I'm planning on, I've done all of my planning in terms of what I want to do with my stamping and the background. So I'm going to do an ink blended background. We're going to have some green down here for the grass. So I've got twisted citron and bundled sage, and then I'm going to have like a sunrise. So I've got some mustard seed, and then I'm thinking this is again going to be a sunrise and early morning scene. So we're going to bring in some lovely seedless preserves, festive berries, and then tumbled glass and faded jeans for some blue. And just mix it up. I mean, I might not use all of those colours, or I might add in some extra ones. I'll just sort of see how it goes. But this is generally how it's going to be. I'm going to stamp Moana in Deep Lagoon, which is this lovely blue colour. I'm going to stamp the tree in Vintage Sepia. So these are Versafine pigment inks. And then I'm going to stamp our little kitty Nala in smoky grey. And again, I can go in and darken those up with or add additions and things using glitter pens or gel pens or pencil crayons or anything that I want to, really. So now I've planned everything out. The first thing I'm going to do is work on the background. So I'm going to start off doing that. What I'm going to do, in order to ensure that this isn't a really long video, I'm going to be very careful to just show you bits and pieces of what I'm doing. So I'll show you a bit of ink blending, a bit of the stamping, maybe a bit of how I'm adding colour, so anything, you know, that will be of use or interest to you, and then the finished card. So I'm just going to grab my brushes and get to blending. Right, so I'm using all oxide inks today. I'm going to start off with Twisted Citron. I'm not actually sure whether I've used Twisted Citron before, because I've recently been building my oxide collection. I do need to add a darker green though to my collection, I know that. So when ink blending, it's always best to start off the edge of the page and then come onto the page, and that's whether you're using a blending brush or a traditional sponge dauber or whatever you're using. It's always best to do that. So I did a bit of that. And I have just got these inexpensive blending brushes that happen to be different colours, so I just keep one for each colour family. So, you know, the green one gets used for all the green ones, the green colours, and that seems to work well for me. I don't like get any like cross-contamination or anything. If you do think you've got obviously like a heavy amount of ink left over on your brush or on your dauber, then just wipe it off before you go into the next one. Oh, actually, I'm going to add some carved pumpkin in as well. I think that's what I did the last time. I created a similar sort of, or a card that was occurring at a similar sort of time of day. I added some carved pumpkin into the mix of the night sky, and that looked really nice. So I'm going to use a bit of orange. So this is probably going to look a bit of a hot mess at first, but that's fine, because once all of the images are added and prettied up and things, it'll look lovely. You just sort of have to have faith in the process, really. Is my experience. So as you can see, I've created a sort of base of green, and then I've got a round-ish circle for the rising sun, and then I'm going to use these other colours in sort of a stripy pattern, basically across the panel. And this panel, so because Ania's tree is such a large stamp and I wanted 2 stamps either side, I needed to cut myself a large panel to work on. So this is actually I think it's 6 3/4 inches, so we'll go on to a 7 or 8 inch card blank. I think I've got both actually, so I'll see what fits best, and whether I want any mats and layers and things on it. So there we go. So that's our initial carved pumpkin. I like that. So I'll just show you a bit of the festive berries and me mixing those in, and then I'll do the rest of the ink blending off camera and come back to you when we're ready to start stamping. You see how well that blends straight away. It mixes really well. That's one of the great properties of the oxides. And the Fairy Hug stamps just stamp beautifully. You know, they're really high quality and they stamp beautifully over top of these ink blended panels. So I'll just take this opportunity as well just to say, if you have stumbled across this video and it's your first time, I'm a member of the video design team, and we post videos on a regular basis using Fairy Hug stamps. So there's lots of inspiration on the YouTube channel for you. So, you know, I'd highly suggest that you look around and get some inspiration while you're here. We also have a Facebook group, Fairy Stamper Hugs Facebook group, which is a really lovely place. It's very supportive. There are regular competitions, so you can enter your own makes into competitions to win gift cards to the store. You know, so it's a really lovely place to be. There's lots of support and encouragement. So if you're a newbie and you're sort of a bit scared to sort of share your creations, I'd suggest that you go over there and take full advantage of that. So I'm going to crack on with this scene, and I shall see you back in a short while. Right, my crafty friends, so it's the next day, and my background is fully dried now, and the colours have softened and sort of settled into the paper and blended even more together. So I'm really happy with the background overall. I think it's a nice vibrant sky, which was the effect that I was going for, and I've just arranged the 3 of the main elements there. The only other elements to do are the snowflakes, but I'll do those at the end. And also I think I'm going to heat emboss these. So for the moment I'm just going to put my magnets on the acetate whilst I place the tree, so I can get it in the exact or, you know, pretty much exact position. So I saw someone else doing this a while ago using the acetates to position, and as soon as I tried it and realised how useful it is, I just do it all the time now. So I'd recommend that to you if you're having trouble with positioning things or knowing where you want things to be. So we're going to go with the vintage sepia, and I'm aware that this might need several stamps, so that's fine. I'm also going to try and not get ink on any areas that aren't branches. as well, to try and avoid you know, getting ink brown splodges in places I don't want them to. But I'm not going to keep all that on camera, you know, like me sitting there rubbing a little bit out with a baby wipe kind of thing. But just know that I might be doing some of that in the background, but I'll edit it out. I also might have to stamp each element a couple of times because I'm stamping over inks, so they might need to be stamped several times. There we go. I think that's a lovely impression there. Just got a slight bit of smudging there, but nothing major, so I'm happy enough with that. So now I'm happy with the tree stamp. I'm moving on to stamping our lovely little cat Nala in smoky grey. I think this is just going to look so cute. I really love cats, so I was really happy that Fairy Stamper brought out a release with cats and dogs. Now stamping our little Moana, our little thoughtful pensive fairy. Right, so there we go. I'm really pleased with the way that's all stamped. And what we've got left to do now is to stamp the snowflakes. Okay, so in order to stamp the snowflakes, well, basically what I want to do with the snowflakes, if you've watched any of my recent videos, you'll know that I've become a bit obsessed with this wow embossing glitter in sparkling snow. So it's like a sort of white embossing powder, but it's got glitter in it and it just looks absolutely stunning. So I think it'll look absolutely gorgeous to have some sparkling hanging snowflakes. But in order to do any heat embossing, this all needs to be completely dry, so I'm going to need to heat set this. So I'll do that off camera because it can be very noisy. So I shall just heat set this and then be back in a moment. Okay, so I've heat set the panel, and then there's a way that you can check whether it's fully dry, which is basically by using your anti-static powder bag over the image and then pouring some embossing powder on, and then tapping it to get the powder to come off. And if there's any powder stuck on, it means it's still not fully dry. So I did that, and it obviously wasn't fully dry because there was some of the glitter stuck onto the tree branches, but it looked beautiful. It looked so nice. And I thought, well, actually, as it's going to have snowflakes hanging from it, it'll be really nice to incorporate this. So it'll be like a soft snowfall. So what I'm going to do is I am going to stamp it now. So I'm going to stamp the snowflakes, well, one snowflake at a time. And I'm going to use my anti-static powder bag. But I'm just going to work with the fact that there will be some of the embossing powder around in other places. Will it attach to the tree and maybe to the fairy's wings and things like that? Maybe a bit on top of the cat. I think that'll actually look really, really nice. So, you know, sometimes there's like these little happy accidents that we have. I had also already thought about using my Versamark pen on the ground to get some snowfall. So this way we're just extending it to the tree as well. So I'm quite pleased with that. It's an example of how sometimes things don't go according to plan in crafting, but that's okay because you end up getting a really nice result. There we go. So we've got a bit on top of the fairy. We've got some nice bits on top of the tree branches there. I am obsessed with this embossing powder at the moment. I just think it is so gorgeous. It just gives such a gorgeous effect. So just wiping away any bits of excess powder that I don't, any excess embossing powder that I don't want. But there isn't much. I think that's pretty perfect. I'm really pleased with that. I think that looks lovely. You can see like areas like where the snow has gathered on some of the branches, you know, and on top of our little kitty and on top of Moana. I'll use a white gel pen and add some bits of more white areas to make it more defined, but I'm really pleased with the way that that's turned out. So I've just got to go and do the finishing touches to it, really. So I shall be back in a moment with the finished card. See you then. Okay, so here we go, the final completed card. I'm quite pleased with the way it's turned out. As you can see, if I hold it up to the camera, it's got a lovely shimmer from the embossing powder. And I've matted it onto some Censura Pearl white with a hint of silver card to tie in nicely with that. And then put a layer of black underneath that. So it's ended up being quite a large card. This is about 7 3/4 inches. But I think it's turned out well. I used a mixture of pencil crayons and gel pens and glittery gel pens to add colour to the tree and our little cat and our little fairy. And then to add to the, obviously it's a sunrise on a somewhat snowy, a light snowy morning. So I used some Cloud9 Nouveau Dream Drops, which are these big drops that you can see, and then I used a mixture of some white gel pen and some Posca white pen for the smaller flakes there. So I'd love to know what you think about this project. So it'd be great if you could leave me some comments in the section below, and if there's anything that you're unsure of or that you want explaining any further, then again, don't hesitate to ask. It's been lovely spending this time with you today, as always. Thank you for choosing to spend that time with me, and I will see and speak to you soon with some more crafty goodness. Bye for now.